My name is Manoj Chugh, and I am what you could say a student of the information technology industry. I've spent 41 years, very, very exciting, and I would say very blessed and fortunate to do many, many different roles. I am very, very delighted that today we are kickstarting a video series with Express Computers. And I do hope that over the next several months, we will get the opportunity to interact and learn from each other. One of the questions which I was asked was, where would I like to begin this video series? And as I look at the landscape and as I look at vibrant India, what clearly struck me was the significant impact that SMBs and MSMEs are making to our economy. And I thought that perhaps I'd like to begin the video series with an ode to them. And what I'm going to talk about over the next few minutes is about digital transformation, what it means for SMBs and MSMEs. But before that, let me just pause and share with you that I think the time has come. You know, the government is very focused in terms of working and partnering with industry, with MSMEs, with SMBs to take India to the next level. And we are very confident that over the next 25 years, or as we call it, the Amrit Kal, India will become a developed country. But as we move through that journey, there's going to be a lot of excitement. There will be some frustration. There will be lots of things that we are going to celebrate. And therefore, what I'd like to do is start by sharing my perspectives on the imperatives, opportunities, and challenges that SMBs and MSMEs will have to brace up to face and, of course, certainly succeed as they embrace digital transformation. Let me take a few minutes to give a big shout out to each and every one of our organizations and our businesses in this sector. You know, it is surprising and perhaps might amaze some of you that we have a whopping 63 million non-agricultural MSMEs in India, and more than half of them are in fact in rural areas. They cut across both the services and the manufacturing sector. And in fact, 30% of them are engaged in some manner or the other with some manufacturing activities. Just sharing a few metrics to set the context. Today, MSMEs, SMBs contribute to nearly 27% of the country's GDP. They actually account for 40% of the gross industrial value add. And believe it or not, they contribute to 40% of our country's exports. When we look at employment, and you know that employment is a big issue, they employ 120 million people, and in fact are the second largest employers after agriculture. In short, SMBs and MSMEs are the backbone of our country. And unless they succeed, we are not going to win. Unless they win, we will not become a developed nation. Whilst the contribution from a quantitative perspective is certainly very impressive, what they do to enable socio-economic development is certainly very laudable. And we all know that they play a very, very important role in providing employment opportunities, both in rural and urban areas, and also help in the industrialization of our less fortunate cousins who are in areas which are relatively less developed, because they are able to, at a relatively low capital cost, set up some marvelous businesses. While in the past, it was good enough for organizations to maybe focus on manufacturing and find ways of selling their products. However, given the fast-changing environment, I guess the time has come when it is critical and important for them to adopt digital for business success. This calls certainly for a change in strategy, because you have to engage with the external world. You have to engage with new age customers, new age demands, new ways of manufacturing. And therefore, this will require a change in strategy for our SMBs and MSMEs who are intricately woven into the very fabric of our country. And when that change of strategy occurs, it is only important that the underlying processes need to also undergo a re-architecture. And as we look at new processes to help us implement a new strategy, one thing which is becoming very clear is that these processes have to be powered by digital for business survival, if not for anything else. The good news is that digital is already getting embedded rather very rapidly into certainly some of our processes. In fact, over 70% payments today, which SMBs and MSMEs are engaged with in the marketplace, are made through digital channels. Not only that, many of our SMBs and MSMEs who are focused on the financial services sector, for example, in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, are leading from the front, motivating the ecosystem to use innovative banking services and products. And they cannot do that if they are not digitally enabled. Services-based MSMEs are certainly noticing that there is a rapid change that is occurring in terms of expectations that their customers have from them, because their customers are now asking for superior mechanisms of digital experiences that they are wanting from them. And these experiences and the expectations thereof are in fact becoming mainstream. If you look at the manufacturing oriented organizations, they need to absolutely tightly integrate into the digital supply chains of larger industries, and that is becoming imminent and mandatory. Many organizations have absolutely understood that if they have to succeed in the new age, they need to rethink their strategy. And I guess, as I have mentioned, obviously re-architect their business processes powered by digital. And the good news is when we move to digital processes, it also helps us to add resiliency to our businesses. So in a way, you're going to kill two birds with one stone. So what are the key drivers of digital adoption? Why is it that they have to embrace this brave new world, if you will? I've spoken about a few areas. Let me delve into a few more. The first, of course, is a demand from institutional customers, particularly from those organizations which are focused on manufacturing, where they need to now tightly integrate into the ERP systems of their larger industrial customers. And therefore, if you have not automated enough, there is no way you can integrate into your customers' ERP systems. Therefore, organizations have to look at a whole new way of automation, whether it is in the area of sourcing, of packaging, production planning and control, quality, safety, all aspects have to be reimagined. The good news is there are very good organizations, there are very good systems integrators who can help you to take your manual processes and convert them into automated processes. In fact, an organization that I've seen doing phenomenal work is called RPA Tech, where they're working with manufacturing and services organizations, taking their processes and making sure that they digitally transform them to significantly improve the quality of outcomes that these organizations are delivering to their customers. The push for greater productivity, particularly cutting across the shop floor to the top floor, is again becoming very important. And all of us have heard about the very keen desire of organizations to implement Industry 4.0 solutions. We know that IoT is enabling real-time data collation from the shop floor, which in turn can be integrated into the ERP systems through a manufacturing execution system. Data collated through IoT can actually be also fed into analytics engines that could reside in public clouds. Now, if what I have said is a mouthful, don't worry, we will decode a lot of this as we go along in these video series. And I'm sure that analytics engines running on the public cloud will in turn help us to drive improved machine productivity, uptimes, and certainly more improved proactive maintenance cycles, so that at the end of the day, it gives us a very, very solid return on our investment. The third area is expectation of superior customer experience. And certainly from new age customers, particularly the expectation from organizations that they're working with. They don't care whether it's an SMB or an MSME. The fact is they want fantastic customer experiences. And that is, again, a very big driver to move to digitally enabling our own businesses to serve our customers better. Start looking at, for example, the business compulsion for consumer goods focused organizations. They have to engage with the market and access new customers. Where are they going to get these customers? They are going to get them on e-commerce platforms or D2C platforms. Just not only that, but also look at the fact that they now have to start understanding their own customers' journeys. If they have to drive stickiness while going on to these e-commerce platforms, because unless they do that, they will not be able to enable steady revenue streams for themselves. So I think whether it's a manufacturing organization, whether it's an organization focused on services, whether it is somebody who's in consumer goods, whether it is somebody who's in industrial products or as an intermediary, the fact is that unless we digitally enable ourselves, it's going to be very, very difficult to succeed in the future. Now, let's look at potential possibilities as we look at India over the next 25 years. We know that innovation and the resultant need to reinvent the entire ecosystem provides huge opportunities. I'll give you a simple example. Let's talk about EVs. EVs spawn whole new industries, starting from battery technology to charging to many others. Look at areas like energy transition. What about renewables? All of these will open newer and newer opportunities for MSMEs and SMBs. But if we are not digitally enabled, if we do not embrace digital transformation, it is not going to be possible for us to participate in these new value streams which are opening up in front of us. Amrit Kal, India will be a developed country over the next 25 years. The opportunity for SMBs and MSMEs to work with those organizations who have signed up the new PLI schemes, the fact that the world is looking at India, whether it's China +1 or anyone else +1, India is certainly the apple of everyone's eye. This is where the opportunity lies for our SMBs and MSMEs. While you'll agree that the drivers are compelling, there are certain challenges which have to be addressed. First is, of course, capital. Many of my friends tell me, Manoj, all this is great, this is fascinating. We can see a great India, developed India, but I don't have capital, I don't have enough of it. So how can I make sure that I succeed? I seize the opportunity. And they see that as a barrier to growth. I think we need to help ourselves by supporting and helping financial institutions to gain access to richer business data sets. We will in turn help them to be able to come up with innovative scoring techniques to assess our credit worthiness so that we can get capital at a lower cost. In fact, as an example, by engaging with account aggregators, and the Reserve Bank of India has come out with the policy, and there are a number of account aggregators that are now available in India. These account aggregators can collect and share financial information from entities that store consumer data at one end, and then what they do is their ability to provide the right level of information so that they can help deepen the availability of credit at lower costs. I think these organizations that are digitally savvy, who will be able to share a lot of more data, will be able to engage meaningfully with account aggregators, will certainly benefit from lower credit costs, just as one of many examples. The second, and I think a very, very oft spoken of example, relates to the lack of multifunctional IT teams. Talent is certainly a big issue, and this area cannot be swept under the carpet. There are several approaches that can be taken. This includes, for example, working with local academic institutions, helping them create bridge coursework, if you will, so that the students who graduate out are more closely aligned with the needs of industry. The second is to partner with startups. We have a very, very, as you know, vibrant startup ecosystem. How can SMBs and MSMEs partner with them so that at lower cost they can provide solutions that will help, this very vibrant community. And the third is motivating the local industry association to work with industry bodies that you are a part of to set up perhaps a center of excellence in partnership with technology OEMs so that they can be motivated to provide some kind of a shared service through the center of excellence, which would be cost optimal when you start looking at it unit by unit by unit. The third challenge I have found many organizations talk about is around cybersecurity. This is a critical topic and requires a very involved discussion. And I do hope that in a future session, I will be able to touch more in this area. Cybersecurity combined with data protection, safety, and availability are all important topics, given that data underpins all digital businesses. I think the fourth area is around new age IT solutions that need to be deployed. Now, whether it's in the area of productivity, whether it's in the area of messaging, whether it's in the area of analytics, whether it is in the area of production planning, control, ERP, and so on and so forth. We all recognize that the easier path forward for SMBs and MSMEs is to leverage a variety of SaaS solutions, which can be hosted and are hosted potentially on different public cloud environments. So it is not uncommon for an organization to be using SaaS applications across 2 or 3 different public clouds. Now, you know what the challenge is. Each cloud service provider has his own or her own set of tools for the workload that is deployed. They have their own mechanisms of providing monitoring, security, and so on and so forth. And if we have to manage many different public cloud environments, you in effect look at it like a cloud silo. The answer is it becomes very, very difficult, very, very complex, particularly for an SMB or an MSME. I have good news to share with you. Fortunately, we have an answer at least to this problem today. Organizations like Cloudworks have developed a multi-cloud management platform that provide a unique technology layer that sits on top of all of these cloud service providers so that you can manage all of this through a single pane of glass while making sure that you continue to use the full capability and potential that a public cloud provider offers you. So things like visibility, ease of management, ability to forecast demand, and very importantly, when you go to the public cloud, real-time cost optimization becomes critical. The good news is that today you can deploy such solutions in less than 30 minutes. You take 10 minutes to onboard, and within a day or so, you can start looking at cost optimization recommendations, making the return on investment worthwhile. Net, digital is here to stay. SMBs and MSMEs in India have a huge opportunity to leverage these technologies to improve productivity, profitability, efficiency, and efficacy. The entire ecosystem can come together to play a constructive role to help them succeed. Our dynamic startups, academic institutions, industry bodies all have an important role to play. I must say that I'm optimistic about the future and the rapid adoption of digital technologies by our SMBs and the MSME sector. More power to you. May your tribe increase. All the very best. Thank you for listening.